You do co-own the Mill Rats?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you one of the founders, or you just co-own?
So when they came to town, there was outside ownership that came in, expansion team. We're the furthest east for the expansion team of a summer wood bat league called the Prospect League. It's like one of the top 10. There's a lot of summer baseball leagues for collegiate athletes.
Yeah.
I think we're in the top 10, so it's pretty elite. A couple guys go pro, a year or two after they play.
Somebody got drafted this MLB draft. I saw.
Yeah, it's they're right there. So it's great baseball right here at Point Stadium, which has so much history to it. And Babe Ruth played here, and the Johnnies actually beat the Yankees when they came.
Yeah.
The scores over there, I think it was 7-5. Yeah, so but back then you couldn't tell you can't tell where talent is. We might have had the best baseball players in the world here, but they're not the Yankees. So the Yankees are getting all the attention. They come into our little mountain fortress, which back then was a 13-and-a-half-hour, drive or,
from New York,
hours. Right. So they come in here, they're like, what are these crazy guys making steel and coal, and they can all play baseball.
They got grit to them.
But yeah, so me and my buddy Bart, I got approached, but the team came to, and I was talking to the manager, and they were like, hey, haven't you are you sponsoring the team, or we're just not seeing as much turnout? And they came in 2020. They came during COVID, which was, I was like, you got to throw all these numbers out. Like this is we did.
This is
does
not matter.
You can't make decisions based on that data. So anyhow, it introduced a conversation with the current ownership from out of the area. They owned a few other teams in the league. So I called a buddy of mine and was like, do you want to take a little nibble at this with me? We'll just be minority owners. They were looking to have some representation around here to kind of help navigate, around here, because it's a different market. It's a different market, So they came in there with their kind of cookie cutter plan on what works, and they came and applied it, and it was fine. They got some great people involved with them here, and they made some partnerships. But then there were some struggles. I think they were scratching their heads a little bit on just navigating that Johnstown economy.
Yeah.
So we started giving them some pointers, and I think an opportunity arose for them in Texas or Louisiana to start a league, and they wanted to pivot quickly and get down there, so they were going to hang it up here and pull the franchise out, and we're like, no. They can't. Johnstown's ego.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch another team
come and go.
That just sets us back of trying to tell people. So me and my buddy Bart called a few other of our
investor
friends and said, hey, you want to dive in on this this business? And they stepped up too, and we told them, we're like, hey, I've been running a business for a long time. This is the first year or two is gonna consume our lives. It's gonna be meetings every week. It's like you're all in on this. You're standing up the business.
This isn't some side gig to do in your free time.
And they crushed it. They knocked it out of the park, and so to speak. And and we were able to get to the numbers to get us around for another year. 'Cause, we have costs involved with just acquiring the team. It's not, no one had it sitting around. So you had to be creative in the deal. But so you want to make sure that the team can stay here. It's a good, positive, wholesome thing in Johnstown, and we want to promote it for we're big God-fearing people, and we think that wholesome things are good things, and that when you have wholesome things, that energy just permeates around, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, baseball is the American class. It's an American sport, American pastime, and so many good memories. So many memories that I have growing up or come from baseball games and baseball stadiums. And what steps have you guys taken to really make the fan experience for the Mill Rats such a unique and
the fan experience? So we kind of approached the team from an experience viewpoint rather than just, hey, we're gonna have the Mill Rats, and we're going to, So we're starting to think about, the first year was, hey, let's get a team.
Yeah.
We need a manager. We need to make sure that we're...
We need to set the foundation.
Yeah, do we have a bus? Are we going to show up for the away games? So there's that. But we're looking at it from the experience side. What when you traditionally go to any ball game, what's that like? Can we mix that up? Can we switch it up? And by having that conversation and that lens, working through our relationships with the city, we were able to go in and say, hey, there's some updates or, some things that need done at the stadium, and they're very open to all the conversations because a full stadium fills up downtown. Everyone wins. The restaurants are doing
people
good.
a reason to come downtown.
Exactly. So they're very great partners, and then there's a few other stakeholders like Bishop McCourt, a couple other places. So we got in touch with them to say, hey, here's what we're thinking of doing, what we're trying to do. But what Johnstown sometimes tends to do is there is that want for everything to be successful so quickly and bad that we kind of can't see the forest through the trees. You know, so we're just immediately jumping. Yeah, getting in our own way at times.
Looking at results too quickly, maybe.
Yeah, just saying, like, let's think big picture. So whenever the kid that, his family comes down, they just got out of the water park up by the airport, you know, and they got to drive to. You start from the big, try to work your way down to the small. It's hard to do. And especially in a place like Johnstown where a lot of families have been managing the decline, So the risk appetite for stuff is very off. It's getting better. Yeah. But like if you're a third generation person in your family business and you're looking around like, where can I invest money? Like you might not even have that attitude. You might be like, listen, I need to
save,
keep this alive. I got 20 people and their families are working for me. Yeah. Now's not the time. So that appetite of like, looking around and saying, where can I invest my money to get a better return on it? That's what we want more of, that wealth creation. And like I said, if you have a fixed income economy going on, it's hard to see that price signal, know? So like you said, if you invest in a new restaurant, you're just competing with the demand's not increasing. You're just competing with what's already here. Yeah. So it better be 100 times better. Yeah. So when it comes to the mill rats, we're working with the city, and the other stakeholders try to invest some money in places that I think are going to provide the most value for everybody, and allows us to kind of pivot the baseball experience in a way that brings pride to the town and is also an affordable way to get out and
enjoy a game for Johnstown. 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. Right.
That's really good. I like that you're also like, it is a college, so it is younger people, giving them like maybe if they chance to try and show the scouts what they can do.
Oh yeah, I mean, and these guys know, so they're building like their brand. This is something Michael and Jacqueline are able to jump in and say, look, it's like everyone's branded now. You get out there, you got to sell yourself, and they're learning about all this. So when they come out here, they just want to be playing baseball all year. So we have host families, which we always need host families. If I could shamelessly plug that.
No, yeah, go right ahead.
We always need host families. They are extremely stand-up, respectful individuals. And they're here for about 2.5 months. They're on the road for about 60 of those days.
That's tough.
They just need a little
place
to sleep, and and they're practicing all the time, and they have games whenever they are here. And then we have all kinds of fun things that we do for the host families. But especially if you have like little kids that are into sports or into baseball, having almost professional, basically professional. These kids are so high speed. If you have them at the house out in the yard working on some mechanics, I mean, you pay $10,000 usually to get this type of attention and experience one-on-one with your kid. These kids are these players are more than willing to do that, and we want them to eat well, have fun while they're here. They can tube whenever they want, so when they get a day off, they can come over, sit on the river, and
relax.
They get out there and talk and enjoy. And so we're trying to build that culture in town to be like, Mike Cook's a great example of. He lives that culture. Yeah, he rides his bike on the trails through places to the brewery,
builds trails.
Builds trails. Yeah, he's literally trying to. He's like, I want to live this kind of life. Yeah, he gets the pickaxe out and he goes and digs. So it's awesome. So,
But I do think it's cool that, like you said about the host families, that their kids and stuff. This is like the closest they're going to be to a professional athlete being in their home, and they can even like teach them, like the kids, like about little baseball stuff,
absolutely,
little quirks, and they can help. And then
they get tickets. The host families come down, they can watch them play then, and
it's it's a memory that they'll always have.
Right.
And it's so nice, and it's such a unique experience.
We think so.
Are you looking, now that you're seeing the Mill Rats and how it's doing, how it's slowly growing? I think it's slowly growing.
It was not growing. Yeah. Before we got it, it was not growing, and it's a risk.
Well, everything's a risk.
Well, but it's usually unless you can identify why something wasn't working, then it can be an even bigger risk of something to that scale. Yeah. But we thought we could bridge the gap where it needed to be first year.
I think since, like I said, the Mill Rats is growing, as you said, it wasn't as first, but definitely there needs to be a basketball team that comes here, because Pittsburgh doesn't have a basketball team, and that is another unique thing.
I don't even know. I don't know where the levels are. If there's that level of like winter basketball, or I don't know. I don't know if players do that so much. If that makes them injury prone.
No, I think basketball's usually played in the winter. I mean, there's colleges.
Definitely playing in the winter. So they're playing in college.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the same as, well, you know what? Maybe they do. I don't know.
Do like a good semi-pro, like the Will Ferrell movie.
Oh,
a semi-pro.
Yeah.
Like the Johnstown Tropics.
Yeah. I think it would work, absolutely. We already talked about, soccer.
Yeah. Soccer is growing.
Yeah, women's soccer, men's soccer. There's all kinds of great opportunities out there to provide more entertainment.
More entertainment stuff for Johnstown. Yeah, I mean, it is a city, and it might not be Pittsburgh, but I definitely think there's enough here, like you said, and there's enough growing, and once people really see the potential to tap into, it could be like a big enough city to hold like 3 minor, maybe not sports affiliated. But
so what do we got? We got 18,000 people in the city, 26,000 up in Richland, probably another 40 in the surrounding area, and then the MSA in Evansburg is about 245,000.
Yeah,
it's about 30 miles of Johnstown, the MSA.
Yeah.
So if you do that math, 200+ people where they working, like, I absolutely could support that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and
it could go very well with the plans that you have to build around it. Right. Because we have a hockey team, we have a baseball that's slowly growing. The hockey it has this popular history that's embedded there. Yeah. And then, you add basketball, and it's like you have more stuff for young people to do, more stuff for young people, maybe even more things for people to come in that gives them opportunity. Because I feel like basketball, like, let's just say there's some people that had trouble past or the college didn't exactly go. You can try and see if you can make it like a semi-pro league and be like, hey, try and build off of this with the NBA, and definitely bring more people in, more families in, because basketball is a very big growing sport too.
Yeah, I think having those feeder systems, something to the level of what we do with the Mill Rats, I think absolutely that's something that can be explored, and I don't even know if that exists.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It could be the first thing, like you said, innovate, make it something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's so much opportunity here, but you have to build it.
Yeah,
and that's the tough part, that Johnstown has been maintaining it. They've been, because it shrank so fast. And that's hard to re-inspire the young folks when I see them. I mean, that's what I try to do, is just like, what are you doing with your life? They're like, well,
what are your plans?
Yeah, I'm like, well, I might not, for us, our struggle with the larger projects is finding long-term patient capital. Yeah. That's it, because you don't have those, like, if I'm trying to open something in the Jersey Shore and say, hey, I'm going to open a T-shirt shop on the boardwalk, like, those numbers are out there. People know what you're going to make. Yeah, but, like, so here, it's like, I want to put a surf lake in. They're like, what's a surf in Johnstown? And you're like,
who surfs here?
Yeah, right. But that's the thing. To do a similar project in a place like Pittsburgh or outside, it's going to be 10 or 12 times more. But because we have it, Johnstown was put on pause. That's the opportunity.
Yeah.
Imagine if coal and steel were still booming. Like, you wouldn't be able to buy a house for any price.
Yeah, thankfully we got one for $95. I mean, probably would have been, if there was the boom, God. I know my friends are trying to buy a house a little bit outside of Philadelphia, and they're looking at $300,000 for probably about the same size that we
probably where it would be. I think it would be, but you have to look at, because something happened, what did it allow to happen? It's with good and bad. Okay, this bad thing happened. But what good thing could come from that?
Yeah, it's about how you bounce back, how you see it and perceive it. Like, the bad thing already happened.
Right.
So now you can't change that.
Right.
So now it's how you're going to react and how you're going to change it.
Agreed. And everyone's looking at, like, they look at the government to solve it, which, if they're in the way, some regulation, some policy, I get it. But the government's,
they're going to look for one thing. The government's going to look for itself.
Yeah, they want to tax whatever you're doing. So they're your best friend all the way. Like, hey, we're going to go make some taxes together. Like, let's do it. But no, so they're not the ones that are going to create it. So, I always just try to encourage people to take calculated risks. People like me are around the area, and they're always available. No one's going to try to take your idea. Yeah. People like us might say you're not thinking big enough, sometimes, like, we have another business we're starting downtown here, but it's going to be solving just for things like that. Okay. It's to help support people to get into, grow their business.
Maybe show them how to grow their business, maybe teach them.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's a market. And, but it's a business for us. So it'll be, if you make T-shirts, it's the idea behind it is we're gonna drive people to your door, to teach you all kinds of marketing and social media and website and all this stuff, and then you'll be able to realize in 6 months or a year that, hey, no one wants my shirts. They love the pants I make.
Yeah.
Now, if you're renting a storefront down here for $1,000 a month, because the taxes are high, and, so the landlord needs to make their money, and so you're paying about $12,000. So like entrepreneurship is about failing over and over and over and over and over again without it ruining you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that?
And learning from it. Learning from
absolutely.
Failures,
And that's where a lot of people can't. And I know I was one of them for a long time. And sometimes I still feel like it. I can't eat $12,000 on the head.
Yeah.
More than once or twice in my life before I'm like, I'm just gonna go back to.
Gotta go back to the 9 to 5.
Yeah, like I try.
Yeah.
So you want people to be able to go out, take their risk, take their chance, and if they don't, like you said, they learn from it, and then they're not ruined. So they can come back and say, hey, I'm only out. I was paying $150. I'm only out $1,300.
Yeah.
For this year, or $1,400, and I don't know. So that's exciting.
And that's like, well, if you want, how much are you willing to put on yourself and put on your dream?
Right.
Too. Like, yeah, okay, I'm out $1,400, but that's $1,400 that that you tried.
Right.
And that like you can't come home and say, oh, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that.
Oh, maybe you're early. Maybe you're late. Johnstown Brewing Company. You remember that? Mm-hmm. You ever heard of Johnstown Brewing Company? You remember that?
She probably heard of Johnstown Brewing Company.
It's up on your way up the easy grade towards Westmont. I think it was the old middle management club for Bethlehem Steel. Yeah. It had like the courts out front and all that. That was Johnstown Brewing Company back in like 2000. They were making like the whole brewery scene that exploded. What am I thinking of? What kind of beer is that?
Craft? IPAs?
Thank you. Yeah, craft beer. So when you go up there and drink, you're thinking, this is, what's going on? Because no one's palates were acclimated to this. And then you fast forward like 10 years later,
it's all over
the world, or especially the U.S. And the guy who opened that, I think he's, correct me if I'm wrong here, but he's one of the top brewers for like Voodoo Brewing, or one of so he left. He was just ahead of the before I could really enjoy an IPA and knew what it was. I'm like, their beer's really bad, but really it's delicious, from an IPA standpoint. But I'm thinking it's supposed to taste like a Miller Lite or
this tastes different. You gotta give people time to adjust to the differences.
They were way ahead of all that. Yeah. And I was not educated as a consumer, so I was thinking this is just bitter beer. And if we can get the businesses to the little tiny startups, it takes time. Like Johnstown Paper Company, if we're trying to get to, we're taking a house a year down, and then hopefully in the next 3 or 4 years we're gonna be doing 3 to 5 houses a year, and then in 10 years we're crushing houses and selling them, and the market's turned back around with all this other stuff. But we know when you come to town from Pittsburgh or DC and you see a blighted house, you associate that with the area, and your experience with us. So even though the river's gorgeous and
they're gonna remember that.
They're gonna remember. They're gonna be like, this place is
run down,
exactly. So that's why we created that. To try and address that problem.
Yeah,
we definitely start it now because it takes time to build.
Yeah, we definitely, when we used to do walks around here, we'd walk around and she even said herself, like, why is there so many just collapsed or empty buildings around here?
Well, you know what? Maybe Johnstown Paper Company can be a sponsor for you guys. And our adage is white blight clean. Yeah. Blight is the house, like what they call houses that are, or maybe we can help.
Oh yeah,
you guys can help market us because we have retail and we have commercial customers that buy our toilet paper and paper products, and our books are open. With that business, we show people, here's what we borrowed, here's where we put it. We fired my brother.
Oh my God!
Yeah, he was. We stopped paying him.
Okay,
that was a great business decision we had. We had to. Sorry, that came out wrong. We stopped paying him.
But I say Thanksgiving this year must have been very interesting.
No, he saw it too. We were like, look, we're not. It's like he can fulfill our commercial customers and retail customers really quickly and on his own.
Okay.
And he was like, look, he stood it up. We did the first year or two. He crushed it.
Yeah.
He's employee of the month every month. He was the only employee. And then, he was moving in a different direction to go after some other work, some other business stuff. And he's like, I can still handle this. So we moved him off the books.
Okay.
And then we were able to just take all the revenue and put it towards the
put it something better.
Yeah, towards the loan, towards the bottom line for the business, and it's been great. And I think people were surprised who support us. They're realizing that in 5 years we told them, they're like, this is a long-term project, so we got to pay our debt service, and then now that's off, and we're
able to do more.
Yeah,
able to definitely put back.
So we're tearing one down this year, and then hopefully 2 years later we'll be doing 2 a year, and then just keep building And then these other ideas come down the other side. Then the market's there to buy and
build. And it gives people, what they see what you're doing, tearing down, making better stuff. It inspires them to maybe, like, oh, it's not such a, because you come down here and you see the buildings and it's like, it puts you in that negative mindset. So like you said, it looks so run down.
It's a first floor city.
Yeah.
There's not much going on in the upper floors.
Yeah, and like, I feel like there's a lot to do in the upper floors.
Oh, have you been? Gorgeous.
Yeah, it gets such a beautiful view with the mountains and everything.
Imagine buying a 4-story building in downtown Philly that looks through the the valley. And, I mean, how much would that cost?
A lot. It costs you a lot.
Here, you might be able to get it at tax sale.
Yeah.
You're gonna. The tough part is the numbers for rehabilitation is the tough part. But there's grants or some city low interest loans and stuff that are out there. But that's where the math doesn't math. What the market rents need to be to justify that rehab price.
Yeah,
just not there.
So it'll eventually get there.
It will. So yeah, exactly. But there's got to be somewhere. There's the gap. Yeah, there's a gap in there. So
I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Well, it works for people who do it themselves.
Yeah.
So like if you buy a building and you tried to pay me to go rehab it, it wouldn't make any sense. Wouldn't math. Yeah. But if you decided to do all the work yourself.
Yeah, because then you don't have to pay for labor.
Oh, you have. There's a lot of savings in there. So so that'd probably mark up the materials too, because I had to go get them and stuff like that. But you know what I mean?
So, and then, I mean, once you start doing that, I'm sure like maybe if there was more hardware stores or like you said, get away from the Home Depots.
Yeah,
and then get like there's so many trees around here. I'm surprised it's not like a lumber store or something that you could get like lumber from.
Have we talked before? Because that's like my number one.
No.
No, and I'm like, this is ridiculous to me. I mean, there were some lumber shops around here, some lumber mills and stuff, but you think it would be
a lot of lumber stores.
It's so strange to me. I drive around here and like some of the barns are falling over for like, I mean, it's like a foundation industry, food, farms. Like some of these farms, I know they're growing stuff. I know that, but are they not making enough money on food?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I don't understand that business as well. But I've been in other parts of the country where the farms are nice. Yeah. The barns are nice. The things are, and here there's, maybe people just don't feel like putting the money back into them because they need it for other aspects of their life.
Or they're scared to, because you said because of the.
Yeah, they don't know. Yeah, they don't know they're not getting good price signal.
Yeah. So also, it is a lot of, like you said, there's older people here and maybe they can't. And their kids don't want to.
Right.
I mean, that's something you have to change. Is like these kids should want to because then like you'll be able to sustain yourself and you got like make people want to stay here instead of going out to the cities and these kids their kids leave or the younger people leave and it's like there's nobody for them to help the older people.
There's a lot of businesses that are viable that survived that downturn. Very well run businesses in Johnstown. They're very viable. They have no succession plans. So their kids are in Maine as immigration lawyers, and they're not coming back. Or they moved out to California. That exists, So I tell younger folks, I'm like, if you see a business you like around town, go knock on the door, ask the owner what's his plan for the future.
Yeah.
And he might look at you and be like, "You're my exit," Like, all right, I'll get you where you want to be.
Yeah.
And you can come up with a creative deal to where he can get the number he needs to get out of town. Because his kids don't live here.
Yeah.
And that's another tough part is there's great schools here, but you get educated to a certain point. You cannot demand the salary that you can get elsewhere. So that is a real thing. And people leave to go after that job.
Yeah, because I know we were looking for media jobs, and the media jobs here just aren't where...
No, I can't imagine they can compete with
other markets, especially with like more... we're getting there, but like more sports markets and stuff that like it's more media.
This is what you're doing
we're trying.
We're
trying to start something.
No, I think this is important. This is like the best way to tell Johnstown's story. I think is to have these impromptu conversations with people. And I thank you so much for thinking of me.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
I mean, you love Johnstown so much. We got to get some.
I'll be here anytime you want some energy, injected in here. This is, my wife. She used to deal with me all the time, wanting to talk about this stuff, and she's all in too. She's like a huge supporter of Johnstown, but I probably go a little overboard with just wanting to talk about
fine.
things.
Could you? So I know for a lot of like sports, like Steve Cohen, I'm a Mets fan, and he's gonna put more businesses around the stadium. Are you gonna try and build around Stadium Park?
So we would love to do what the Pirates are doing and do. Is that what you're referencing?
Yeah, just have restaurants, local.
Yeah. Oh my God, absolutely.
Maybe like a Mill Rats bar or something.
Yeah. Until you get to that point, you obviously you want to support Stadium Pub, fences, balance. You want to really promote all these local eateries, but there's definitely holes in the economy and the experience side that we think we could fill at some point. But right now, that's down the road. Yeah. And there's all kinds of folks in Johnstown who are looking for that price signal, and if they see the stadium full for Millwright games, for
Triple
ABA, when they see that consistently full, there's going to be price signal out there that's triggering them, and they're like, okay, that's a stable business. They're going to be here for a while. Yeah. We can invest X here to build this, and then we can recoup that back based on what they're doing over here. So that's hopefully in the future, and there's people with deep pockets around. There's a lot of old money in Johnstown. But they're not going to invest in things that they don't think that they can
get back.
Get their money, at least get their money back, and then a premium to beat the rate that we print money. So you gotta get at least that back. But I think it's out there, and I think everything's a possibility. I think this town could look completely different in 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, I see the possibilities of this town. It's there. It's just like you said. It's like the drilling money, the oil. It's like the old oil money. It's got to drill a little bit, to get there.
So what's your foundational industry around here? What's the thing that's pumping money into an area? It could be 10 things. Once you identify that, then you can kind of get a feel for where is it growing or not. What's the outlook of us as a paper company? No one's created the 3 seashells yet from Demolition Man. I don't know if you saw that movie. Someone might get that reference.
So sorry. I don't know. I don't know.
But funny moment. But that industry is pretty stable. It's been vertically integrated. And is there a lot of growth for paper in Johnstown with this market? Absolutely. And we don't even have 0.001% of the market here, and we're right in line price-wise with everything else. So,
and I like that you saw an opportunity that maybe not many people would have saw with the paper, and took advantage of that.
Well, that opportunity. The way we saw that was we were looking at how we just looked for any industry ripe for disruption. At that point, we're like, okay, what are people buying? What are they using? Can we enter in here? Okay, I'm not trying to compete with Amazon. On certain things.
Basil's going to come at you.
Right. So if you're a for-benefit company like us, you have to sell people a reason to buy your product.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. So we're not going to we don't have fluffy bears and puppies pulling on the diapers of babies to get you to buy our toilet paper product.
Yeah.
We're saying, hey, that house down the street that's fallen in and you're worried about your kids playing near it, we're going to tear that down. Just buy toilet paper from us. Yeah. You can look at our books. We promise.
Nothing shady.
But and people have a hard time trusting anything. Especially when you're like, oh, we're going to go do this because it's such a unsexy business to be in. There's got to be an angle, and our angle is not in tearing down Blight and Johnstown. We want to buy the giant rolls of paper, bring them here on rails, convert it, cut it down into this, so we can capture that next price point, and then that's the business that we hire people and treat like a normal family company. And then we have a bunch of what we are now. Like right now, we drive and buy in massive quantities from a major converter. We want to become the converter here.
And then disperse out.
Build what we're doing in all of these Rust Belt towns that have unfunded things. And then we have a track record to say, we're not taxing you. We're not doing this. You're spending the same money that you would buy anyway. Just buy it here, trust us, and then you'll start seeing us
impact the community.
And that's the goal, because I think they get overlooked. There's not a lot of wealth creation here, and if you don't do something purposefully to pivot away from that, it's just going to continue to be what it is.
It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to grow.
No,
it's not going to advance. It's going to be sad.
Everyone's going to just get their cheeseburger money from Wendy's, and the profit's going to go. I think some of these are local owned. and I'm not trying to knock any of those, but the corporate side of it's going to take their cut of that profit that normally would stay here,
and then go off. Yeah, and it's never going to come back, which sucks. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's really cool that you saw that, because a lot of younger people are going to go for like the stocks or the instant success, and you're like, maybe that's something that's more attracting or seems fun, and you like stopped and you're like, well, paper, like you said, people might not see it's not fair, it's not whatever. People might not see the paper and think, oh, how can I transition this to make it better in the community? They're gonna be like, oh, well, I'm just gonna go and start some whatever t-shirt company or something.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to do, but if there's 10 t-shirt companies here, you're just trying to cut into, and when I look and invest in a business, I want to not be able to see the ceiling. Like, I don't want to be able to define my customer count and say, I can grab all these people. I want to say, if we create an awesome experience here, like the Mill Rats, and then you see something like the Savannah. Not we're going to do anything like this right now, but the Savannah Bananas down there. You've heard of them? It's kind of like a circus of baseball. They have guys on stilts. It's a whole show. Yeah, like there's those people travel from all over to go down there. So even if we could do something that's even a little better than normal baseball experience, times a few. Then people will show up, and
if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, and we can't see the limit on that market. Whereas if you're selling T-shirts here, trying to you can kind of do the math. And be like, all right, there's 5 little leagues, 6 basketball team team leagues, and you can do the math and build that market and say, okay, here's how much money's in that market. Here's how many T-shirts are selling. We can capture theoretically 20% of it if we do make them on time and the quality's great and all this stuff. And that's the limit of your. And then you're just going to be fighting over that with all the other. Or you figure out, how can I sell my T-shirts to the world? What can I do?
Expand.
Yeah, and that's hard to do because it's easy to replicate. So when we invest in, like the incline plane is hard to replicate. Yeah. The river, the Stony Creek, it's hard to replicate. The Mill Rats, hard to replicate. So. That's how we look at Johnstown, and coal and steel and the infrastructure have given us a lot. So if you have a traditional business that you wonder if you can not only sell here but sell outside of the area, try to think of something that's hard to replicate. Yeah. But the advantages to being here, I don't know.
Use your surrounding the best way you can. Yeah. Now, I do want to circle back a little bit. You did say you're trying to open a Netflix or start 2 Netflix documentaries?
Yeah. Not documentaries, but like a Yellowstone or like a Game of Thrones type story. And that's how we want to reintroduce John. Once all this stuff gets built, that's how we want to reintroduce it to the world, and then that'll drive people wanting to travel to see the places that we promote. I think it does about $70 billion not billion. I forget how that number's way off. I think it was like around 100 and some million just in boost in tourism up to Montana to go see the Yellowstone house. Little stuff like that for the next 20 years.
And would you want to do maybe stay away from the flood and do like unique other parts of history of Johnstown, or?
Oh yeah. We're gonna weave all kinds of cool stuff into this. There's gonna be
especially with I feel like the coal industry and the whatever you can do.
My brother and I, we're big on we're aware of
make like a coal mafia.
There's good and evil in the world. Yeah. There's dark and light energy in the world, and we think we can weave that into the story of. The story of Johnstown in cool ways, Like there's an Indian burial mound up there, You ever heard of that? No. It's right underneath the antenna. Oh, okay. There, So there's all kinds of crazy things from the past that are just every day, but you just don't know about unless my cousin talked about it because he went to Westmont and knew about it. Yeah. And of course I love this stuff. So this is like a week ago. I'm like, what are you talking about?
They do a deep dive and everything.
Yeah. So there's all that stuff we're going to kind of intertwined together on these series, and it'll just kind of be my brother and I and a couple others just to cast it and build it.
Well, if you need a good editor, I know one.
Yeah. Well, there's some great theater programs in Johnstown too. Like we have a couple guys who worked for us on the river, and they're up in New York trying to make it as actors. And Seth and I are looking at each other like, it's a different world now. Like if you're trying to be on Broadway, or you can shoot a movie here, and try to get it sold.
I feel like we talked about there's so much. I've come here, I'm like, there's so much potential to shoot a movie here. You have so much wildlife. Yeah. I feel like you could shoot like a really good horror movie.
So imagine shooting the movie, or all your expenses and costs are actually written off against a tourism aspect. Yeah. So then now you're making the movie doesn't have to go out and make money.
Yeah.
Because its job is to go out and get people to come here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the rub. So instead of saying we made this film, we got to sell this to people, and hopefully they buy it, or else we don't make any money. You know, you can build a business to be like, they're not going to pay for it. We want them to see this film, so they want to come here, and they're going, and then they want to stay in a hotel, and they're going to eat over at Fetz's, and then they're going to get gas, at Sheetz, which is a local company and employs a lot of local people.
Sheetz is all right.
No, but that's what you want from a local economy standpoint. We want to be the Home Depot, Lowe's, and Chili's in other areas.
Yeah.
That's what you want. Like Balance is out in Murraysville, or Stonebridge is in Greensburg. I think Balance might be doing something out, not Murraysville, but like downtown or something like that.
Okay.
They might have a second location. I think they're up at the airport, but like you want them in other markets. We want all of.
So then when people go and they look it up, what's the origins of X and X business? They're like, it's Johnstown, Pennsylvania,
and it's employing 100 people. Yeah. Good jobs, and we're taking advantage of the shipping industry in New Orleans because that company has 4 stores down there and they do great. Yeah. So we're now participating in the global economy, and that money's getting worked back to Johnstown. But right now, there's not enough of that.
That's something we need to work towards.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there's you got to line it up for people, but there are barriers to entry to starting a business. It's not the compliance side alone is ridiculous. Ridiculous. But anyhow, yeah.
All right, so kind of wrap it up. Let's wrap it up on a little fun little note. Okay. So
sorry.
That's fine. It's my fault. No,
all good.
So what are some of your favorites, since you love Johnstown, what are some of your favorite places to eat? What are some of your favorite things and places to go here in Johnstown that you think people might not experience or might not know about?
Okay. To eat, I usually swing down to Miko's.
Okay.
It's a little... because I think they're still open. I haven't been there in a couple months. But usually, but it's like 4 tables. The guy who owns it's the one cooking and serving you.
Okay.
And it's really good, really great food. And
what kind of food is it?
He has a mixture of everything. But the coolest thing about it, he has this. When you walk in under where you pay, he has a freezer, and he has just hundreds of frozen soups. Oh. So you can just go in and grab his broccoli and cheese. You can grab the chicken noodle. Yeah. So you just go home, throw it in a pot. It's really Chad proof when I talked about cooking. I was like, I can unfreeze like an ice cube. I just melt the ice cube and then there's soup.
Add some water.
Well, I know it's all in there.
Oh, is it?
So I think he makes the whole soup and then he puts it in portions. But so food, Miko's, pizza. Oh man.
The name
that's impossible.
Yeah,
that's
so many places.
And they're all really good.
What would you do for fun around here in Johnstown? What did you do for fun growing up that still goes on?
We would go growing up for fun. We were always just hanging out with each other with our friends. You know, and wherever we went was fun. But like to go out, there really isn't a bar district. So that was a tough one. We used to cruise Scalp. Growing up, but now I don't really go out. Like I drove the coal tubing bus for my daughter. And her friends, they wanted to have a little party bus around town, so I drove that for them. Went in and listened to the band Boomtown at Woodside. I like Woodside. It's up near my house. And
Woodside's nice. We like Woodside.
Went to listen to Boomtown, and I was sitting there thinking, I was like, man, it's really loud in here. And I'm like, oh no, it's happening. I'm getting too old. But no, it was. That's a fun place. But yeah, I mean, with kids now, I like to get home as reasonable an hour as I can. So just so I can get some sleep. But the move is you get a couple beers. You go order takeout food.
Yeah. Bring it home.
Get a couple beers, bring it home. That's my getting wild and going crazy,
Yeah.
But I love the Haven. Boulevard Food's great. Woodside's great. Murphy's Wings. Can't go wrong.
And my final question will be, so the Tomahawks, the War Memorial does like concerts. Are you going to try and do some concerts and stuff at Sergeant
Being
Stadium?
open air is tough. And then there's an aspect to that business that you have to front some costs.
Yeah.
So are we in a position to be able to do that? Maybe.
Not in the future.
Maybe we can do some, are we going to get Beyonce here? Probably not.
The Beatles, Shea Stadium.
Can you have concerts there? Absolutely. You worry about the turf. You worry about the stage,
the turf is cool.
So there's things, not problems that can be solved, but sometimes there's some upfront costs to them that we're just trying to convince.
Figure out.
Yeah, figure out. Right. Yeah. But there's absolutely attention on the point right now in a great way.
Yeah, so you can do like fireworks afterwards.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of energy and thought being put into that place, into this town. And what's exciting for us is when we start seeing other people's gears start turning, and then we
You get to use to turn.
Yeah, once everyone's gears start turning the right direction, everyone can win. Everyone can win if they just got to be creative. And we're still fighting every day to try and win. But that's
business owning.
It is, man, and we're trying to make it happen as quickly as we can, obviously, but
smartly.
Yeah,
smartly as quickly as you can.
When there's a finite amount of money in a market, everyone's trying to cut each other's knees off.
Yeah, it gets competitive.
Yeah, in ways that didn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When we're working from a larger market, you don't have to do that. Yeah, then everyone can.
Everyone gets their own.
Everyone can
share.
start working. Yeah.
And it doesn't I gotta get mine. Forget him.
Yeah.
And it's just like, relax. We gotta get ours.
Yeah. Right. And that's some big picture stuff, and that's not how things have.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think it's changed. It's absolutely changed in the last 5-10 years of my life. I've seen it. It used to be a little more transactional. Like if you're getting what you want, that must mean I'm not getting what I want.
Yeah.
Or if you're happy, then I got screwed.
Yeah. Why do you like this deal? Even though I like this deal, something must be wrong here.
Yeah. Instead of saying let's make him real happy.
Yeah.
Because hey, by the way, in 2 years I'm gonna have this going, and I want all your business. You
know,
and
you're like they don't think it's like good connections.
Yeah. Good. I think that can exist. I think it exists now, but it really can. That's the mindset you want people walking in on. Is like, look, everyone's got to live. Everyone's trying to make the best product.
Make a living.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially with you, now that Johnstown, sports really help make that mindset and stuff, because like you learn to do stuff for you, but also your teammates, and it's not just you.
Well, there's nothing better than watching people leave a Millrats game or tell us where they went and ate dinner. Before they got there.
Yeah.
And that's just, we know, perfect. That's exactly what we want. They came through a local restaurant, ate there, poured money into those, the waiters, waitresses, everyone involved in that stuff, and then they have a good experience and they get home, and it's like, that's the catalyst. You want something there being the catalyst for all that. So.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. Again, this is Chad.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
The owner of the Millrats, founder of the Johnstown cold
tubing,
paper industry.
Yeah, Johnstown Paper Company and the Millrats.
Thank you, Ford Suplis
Ford, downtown Johnstown.
Thank you, Suplis Ford, downtown Johnstown, for letting us use your amazing facility for this interview with your amazing cars behind us. I don't know the names of the cars. I'm not going to lie. There's a Mustang there. Thank you very much for letting us use your facility.
It was a great time. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.